Why do so many producers struggle to sell beats? Well, other producers seem to have no problem selling beats. There must be something that the top selling producers all have in common, whether it has to do with their marketing, whether it has to do with their style of production, whether it has to do with how they mix their beats. And it's looking like it's all of the above, plus a whole lot of other factors that I'm trying to get to the bottom of. So this is really kind of my mission to figure out so I can bring that information to you. So I'm talking to some of the top selling producers just to get some insight into their processes and see what they have in common, how they're selling their beats, how they're making their beats, how they're marketing their beats. And who better to ask than the first producer to ever really go viral on the internet. And I'm talking about BubbaGotBeatz. If you know anything about internet culture, you'll know about the 10 Toes challenge. That was his beat. And I've had a couple conversations with him, but this conversation was special because it was very honest. He talked about exactly what made people want to buy his beats. He talked about, how much money he invested in marketing. And he also talked about how much money he made off of the 10 Toes beat, which is just a beat, mind you. And the answer might surprise you. It was 6 figures off of a beat uploaded to the internet. So if that sounds interesting to you, and it should, enjoy the conversation. Shout out to BubbaGotBeatz for having such an honest dialogue with me and sharing that information with the producer community. And by the way, he has like 300,000 subscribers and I'm at 95,000. So if you haven't subscribed, help me out. I'm trying to get a plaque like him. Appreciate that. Thank you. Let's be honest, you're not gonna find these videos anywhere else. Why? Because I make them. So it would really help me out if you subscribe. If you've already subscribed, what also really helps is if you like the video and leave a comment. It's hard in the era of clickbait videos on YouTube and negativity in the producer community, and I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. You've had some time, some years to reflect on the success of 10 Toes Challenge. What would you say that it was about that beat and the challenge that made it so successful now, so many years later?
Honestly, it had a lot to do with the beat. At first I thought it was how I got it out there, or the people that rapped on it. But after doing multiple ones after that one and none seeing as nearly as the success as that one, it's obviously the beat, like, for some reason.
What do you think it was about the beat? Did you ever just sit down and think, or did you ever talk to rappers that use it?
It's the little voices. People love those voices. Like if you can put those voices with progressions, like people just love them. Like every time I ever use voices, like any type of voices in the background of my beats, people just love those.
Yeah, I feel like that particular beat. Because what instruments it had? Obviously, it had drums, but aside from drums, it had the little vocal samples. It had piano and it had bass. Did it have much else?
Drums and a progression and a melody, a continuous melody.
Yeah, so you kept it really. I guess here's my question to you: what made you stop at that? Because obviously that was the perfect mix at that point. But a lot of producers, I think, would probably keep wanting to add more and more and more and really complicate the track. And then I think if you had added any more instruments to the 10 Toes beat, it probably would not be what it is.
Yeah, I actually stopped before that. There was no 808 in it, and I don't believe there was a hi-hat in there before either. And I loved it, but I couldn't find any 808 that matched it. And any 808 I put in there kind of changed the vibe. So I kind of just like forgot about the beat and like came back to like 2-3 weeks later. And when I came back to it, I played an 808 that just sounded perfect to it, and I put that on there. But I have stopped.
My bad. Go ahead.
But I stopped a long time from that because my beats are basically based off of chord progression and melody. Like that's it. There's no whole bunch of stuff. It's just chord progression and melody. And sometimes the melody may consist of 3 different instruments, but it's always chord progression, melody, and then drum. Nothing else.
Do you start with the melody or do you start with the chord progression, or do you start with the drums usually when you make a beat?
Yeah, I start with the chords usually, but sometimes I'll like sing stuff in my head and then put it on the voice recorder. And when I start with something like that, then I'll start with the melody. But usually the chords.
Got it. Let me see. I think there. Oh yeah. The question is, can we play the 10 Toes beat? The answer is no, because we'll get demonetized. We'll talk about that. Actually, yeah. Let's talk about that now. So, to those who aren't aware, the 10 Toes challenge was a beat that you made several years ago, and marketed it, and it went viral. I don't know how many millions of views just the beat video got, but I guess quickly tell me the history of that. I know we've talked about this a couple times before, but some people might not be aware of how everything transpired. So from the very beginning, when you uploaded the beat to when it went viral, what's kind of like the shortened version of that?
Yeah, so when 10 Toes went viral, it was when the challenges were a thing, and really they haven't even fully became a thing yet, especially not on like other artists' songs, which became very popular. So when I first posted the beat, I posted that beat and several other beats, and I did some Facebook advertisement with no followers on Facebook, and in that beat, and I had already had the intentions of doing a challenge. So I did a post that said, should I do a challenge, something like the So Gone challenge? Because the So Gone challenge had just got popular. And then everyone commented and it was like, yes, do it with the 10 Toes beat, do the 10 Toes beat. And then long story short, a kid did it and he went viral, and he hashtagged 10 Toes challenge, and it kind of sent it spiral.
So what did you do after he hashtagged it? So it sounds to me like you didn't actually decide to do all that. It just kind of happened. Like the people decided, and so everything was organic, at least as far as the foundation of it was concerned.
There was a couple of plays. I had to reach out to him and ask him to, because he didn't initially have the hashtag in there. He just posted it, and I reached out to him and asked him if he could add the hashtag to it, and then I changed the video on my 10 Toes challenge and was like, tag an artist that would kill this beat and have them tag me. And then I just put like a bunch of money behind it, just like just boosting, not any specific targeting ads.
When you say a bunch, what are we talking about?
I spent probably about $3,000 on that 10 Toes ad, but in $10-$20. But when I began to make money off of it, I put money back into it. So I think I ended about $3,000.
So you got a good return on that 3,000.
Oh yeah, for sure. I made over $100 grand from 10 Toes alone, just from one source.
Which is crazy because
my main publisher, which is Sony.
So that is crazy to hear you say you made 6 figures off of one beat, when people, I think, a lot of the times think the only way to make money off of beats is by selling them, or at least that kind of money, by selling them to a major artist, right, and having that song go crazy. Because I'll tell you, in all honesty, I've done songs on albums that have charted, top 10, top 5, top 3. Mm-hmm. I did not make 6 figures off those records. So thanks for being honest about that. And that 10 Toes challenge beat got you a lot of attention from the industry and kind of threw you in the mix of the music business.
Right.
At a major level. So a lot of producers aren't aware, and I'm always talking about this because this is so important. And your situation really, I think, exemplifies the importance of knowing this. A lot of producers aren't aware of the 2 copyrights of each beat. So one is the master copyright, which is the actual recorded beat, in WAV or MP3 form, and then the other is the composition, aka the publishing, which comprises the notes and the ideas and the chords and everything, but is not the music in the recorded form. Basically, what you could write on sheet music.
Right.
And what happens is, because you own those 2 copyrights, you can sell each one separately, and that actually happened to you with 10 Toes. Can you give us a rundown on that? And don't feel like I'm putting pressure on you to make a shortened version of what happened.
Oh, no problem. So Republic came and they reached out to me when the beat started going viral, and they wanted to purchase the beat from me, and they ended up giving me 15 grand, which I probably could have got more if I didn't really got. I needed that 15 grand, so I took the 15 grand, and they the guy at Republic Records knew someone at Sony that was interested in buying the publishing, because at the time I was getting reached out to by a lot of people for the publishing, but the guy over at Sony seemed the most trustworthy, had seemed to make the more sense because I didn't have a lawyer then at all. So I was pretty much just reading over the stuff myself. So he ended up giving me 10 grand for the beat, and that was just the initial advance. So on the publishing side, I was happy that I only took 10 grand, because as soon as the money started rolling, the first check, and I was already getting money back. But if I would have got like 100 grand from him, I wouldn't have received any money until all of that was paid back.
Okay, so it was, in retrospect, it was a good publishing deal that you signed through Sony.
Oh yeah, it was great. I loved it, and it was a 5-year publishing deal as well. So it's coming up.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you're about to get your publishing, your composition copyright back, and then
right
on top of that, it was just a deal. It was a publishing deal just for that one beat, right?
Yeah, it was a single song deal with the wrestler, and it was a single song deal on the publishing for the publishing.
Okay, so just to run it down, you sold the masters to the label Republic Records, and
right.
you sold the publishing on a 5-year deal with a $10,000 advance to Sony. And have you been getting royalties from the label as well, or just the publishing side?
No, I have been getting some money because I was unaware I was aware, but I didn't know that if I'm the artist on the song. But since this song was also the artist on the song, so there's money I don't understand yet. Really, I know it was Sound Exchange and another source that they called it black box money when they reached out to me. But being that I'm the artist on the beat, there was artist royalties for me as well, which one was through Sound Exchange and another one was through another source. I'm not sure if that's trickled down from the label or if there's still money to be recovered.
Yeah, the Sound Exchange money would be from non-interactive streams. So yeah, black box royalties, just so everyone who's watching it is aware, black box royalties are just unclaimed royalties that are sitting there waiting for the creator to claim what they're owed. So yeah, you probably have some money sitting around there. And you know, again, shout out to you for being honest, and Noah T producer seconds that notion by expressing his appreciation for you actually, you know, having a real conversation about the numbers.
For sure.
So it's just I still can't wrap my head around what went down with this deal, because I feel like that was a deal that we're not going to see again. I haven't personally spoken to a producer who made a beat for license online and got 2 separate deals with a major label and a major publisher on it. I've just never. I don't know if you've heard of other people doing that.
Well, I haven't
haven't.
A beat that ran like that wasn't, you know, already on a copyright. You know, I've seen a lot of beats that get like a lot of, like, it was running like, I mean, millions of views by the month.
Yeah, I guess it makes me wonder if, because a lot of beats go viral, right? Like we could go on YouTube right now and see, you know, tens of, maybe hundreds of beats that all have over 1 million views on them. Some of them have multi-million views, but they never reach that same level of momentum. And they're probably generating lots of money. They're probably generating $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for whoever produced that record. But they just, they didn't.
I have at least 7 or 8 beats that have over 1 million. I think one or the other was like 5 million. and it's none of them is the same, and it don't carry your YouTube as much as like the 10 Toes one did. Like, and when you're getting that many views, it also takes your YouTube CPM up, and it increases the views on other videos. But none of them had the effect as that one did, which that one still is my most viewed video.
So with a beat that gets 1 million views on YouTube, so you've had a couple videos. I
still own the copyright to them, and they're available for exclusive stuff.
And you've leased a lot of copies of those beats because it's 1 million views. So yeah, I mean they're profitable. I got one that's climbing towards 1 million, and it's my top selling beat right now. But and I'm still trying to figure out how to duplicate that more and more. You've had a couple instances of that happening. So what? Oh, someone actually knows which beat that. Yep, the Rick Ross one. For you, what insight have you gained after seeing all of these viral beat videos materialize? What do they all have in common, would you say?
I actually think they all have voices in them, for one thing. They all have some type of little voices over a chord progression. And they were all posted with intentions to be challenges, because all my beats, I don't post them as challenges, but some of them I posted and put challenges behind it. And I think the majority of those were intended to be challenges. And one of them that's real popular is just, it was never named a challenge, but it just has that feel, like, I can't explain it. It's just that suck you in feel.
What's the name of that? I'll play it.
Real Feelings. And it shouldn't be copyrighted.
Okay, so we won't get demonetized. Okay, yeah, this is at damn near 6 million views. Let me share my screen and my audio. Hold up. Yeah, so I see what you're saying. My bad, go ahead.
I think it's because it's easy to rap on as well.
So let's talk about the title of this conversation, which is making beats people actually like. Because I think there's a difference between a good beat or even a great beat and a beat that people want to rap on. And a lot of times they're the same, like here's a beat people want to rap on. It's also a great beat. But there are a lot of great beats that people don't want to rap on that, right. Like I, as a producer, might think, wow, listen to that progression. It's amazing. Listen to that bass line. It's amazing. But compared to another beat that that isn't as necessarily complex, musically complex, this beat isn't selling. So there's a difference between making a beat that people love and making a beat that you think is amazing from a producer's standpoint. So how do you produce with intention when it comes down to releasing a track that your customers and your supporters who are using the beats, who you're making the beats for, actually want? Because it seems like you know them really well.
Right. Well, I think it pretty much boils down to my education in music and knowing music theory. because like when I make beats, I want the beat to sound like it's already singing, and I think in order for you structured in a musical way, and I think that has definitely helped me. Music theory for sure.
Because I personally think it's really easy to overproduce something and make a super musically complex beat, but that's not necessarily the art of producing. You know, I could throw 5 different key changes in a beat and no one would want to deal with that one from a recording artist perspective. So for you, it seems like, so you're focusing on the chord progression, you're focusing on the top line, and so in that track, the top line was that kind of flute instrument,
right?
And is that what you mean when you say you kind of try to make it sound like it's singing to you?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a flute is a good instrument, is a good example of a good instrument too, because it's a lot of ways you can make melodies and it'll sound like it's talking, but it will be too much. But a flute is always mostly in the background, no matter what you do. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I love flutes like that.
But you also, so when you put in vocal chops, like in the 10 tones beat, you have to be really aware of the pitch that you're using. Right. You have to be aware of the panning and all that, because it's a vocal sound. It's the sound of a voice that people are recording their voices over. So it's got to be one of those situations where it's a fragile balance, and you need to make sure that there's space for the rappers or the singers to record their vocals too. So how do you do that?
Right. Some of them are more difficult than others, but the real sauce that I be using is still vocal chops. They have vocal chops 1 and 2, and they have.
Sorry, say that one more time. It cut out.
Studio Link vocal chops. They have 1 and 2, and they have it where you can import it through Contact, or they have it where you can open it as a VST, and their chops is already in the key, which key you're already in.
And so, because you went to Full Sail, so you have a background in engineering, at least to some degree, right?
Yes.
So mixing your beats, creating space for the vocals, what are some techniques that you use to make sure that you're not crowding out the frequencies that a rapper would normally occupy once they record their vocals?
Well, first thing, I don't start with any sounds that would need too much tweaking. Like if it don't sound good when I take it out of the pack, I don't use it. But when I always mix my beats in Pro Tools, I'll export them from a machine and mix them in Pro Tools since I have a better understanding of it. Usually I'll pan my kick and my 808 to the center as mono, and my snaps and my hi-hats, and everything else I'll leave pan to the left and the right. Some things I'll move in just a little bit, but for the most part I just leave everything out to the right, and the kick drums in the center, and then I'll just throw a limiter on there when I'm done. But I don't do much detail. I don't compress or none of that crazy stuff.
What was your favorite limiter? Do you use something that's native to the machine, DAW?
No, it's I think it's from the Waves bundle. It's called Moti something.
Okay, Moti. Yeah. Either L1 or L2. I mean, no, actually, maybe it might be L3.
Yeah, it's a couple of them. I just choose one every time. I choose a different one every time.
Got it. So let's talk about how consistent your beats are. So the track that we just listened to was 2 years old, and then 10 Toes Challenge was a little older than that, maybe 4 years old.
Right.
They all have a consistent sound where if I listen to these beats, I'm not ever thinking to myself, oh, okay, Bubba switched it up and did something totally different that I wasn't expecting. Would you say that's part of the reason your supporters are so loyal, your subscribers are so loyal?
Yeah, because I've switched it up a couple times. Like the last beat I posted I switched it up again. But usually when I switch it up, I don't get the results as I would when I give them the piano beats.
I think that's also due to YouTube's algorithm, or just any algorithm, watch time and keywords and everything, if they're not consistent, that just kind of throws a wrench in the whole operation. But you keep your mixes open, you keep your drum sounds pretty straightforward, not in a way where you're trying too much crazy stuff that's going to throw a person's rhythm off. And that combination just seems to make people want to rap. It seems to just make people want to record. So obviously that's all of the musical stuff, but then there's a lot of technical stuff, business stuff, marketing stuff that goes into it as well.
All right.
And you haven't stopped doing the challenges because, like you said, you don't feel that technique, creating challenges for people, is something that's been done very much by. I don't know too many producers who are doing that.
Yeah, I haven't. I actually haven't done a challenge in like over a year, probably. I just continue to post the beats.
Oh, I thought. I could have sworn. Let me make sure I'm not crazy.
For real challenge, I think it was like 3-4 months ago, but it didn't really do anything.
There was that, and I could have sworn Contagious Challenge was recent. Yeah, it says Contagious Challenge. Am I crazy? 3 months ago?
I probably named it challenge, and it didn't have the results the next day, and didn't even worry about it.
Got it. So when you market something as a challenge, then it has to pick up organically, or else it's playing in the background, or else you just kind of let it be.
Yeah, I would say it has to have at least 3 to 4 rappers on Instagram that already has a platform in order for it to budge at all. And I believe the last challenge I had one guy pre-record something before I put it out, and I didn't get anyone else to go ahead and pre-record their challenge. So I take some push from some social media influencers.
Okay, so now we're talking about influencer marketing. So that's an important part of the challenge marketing strategy.
Yeah, but I've never paid anyone to do it. It's just, people that love my beats that has a platform. Like with 10 Toes, it was more people with platforms, found my beat because their fans was like, hey, do the 10 Toes challenge. And then I would use that by posting it and doing like compilation videos to get other people to do it. So
for a producer that, obviously you can talk to a Instagram influencer and say, hey, I did the 10 Toes challenge. They know who you are, and right. That reputation alone could open a conversation up that maybe someone else couldn't. But as far as influencer marketing goes, for someone who doesn't necessarily have that kind of resume or that level of respect, can you think of scenarios where, and I've never done this either, so I have no idea, but can you think of a scenario where paying an Instagram influencer would be a good move for a newer producer?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you do that, I wouldn't even do challenges. I would just kind of act like a rapper. Like if a rapper was to go to one of those pages, you would tell them, hey, get in the backseat of a car and kill a beat. So you just giving them good content. So as a producer, I would do the same. Like make a beat on camera that's like good footage in a minute, and then have it shared on these pages. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do the challenge like that, because when I was having these influencer pages post stuff, it was my mistake back then too, is I didn't put my face in front of the challenge. So I would hit them up and be like, hey man, this dude's my friend. He killed this. Can you post him to get him some followers? And that's how I would use them.
Okay, and you think you made a mistake by not putting yourself as the central figure of all of that publicity?
The challenge was super viral, and I had 200 followers on Instagram.
That's crazy, because it's like that. We're always talking about numbers. We're obsessed with numbers this, numbers that, but they don't always translate from one platform to another, and they also don't always represent real success, because you made 6 figures off of that with 200 followers.
Right. By the time I was making money, I had the followers then. But when I first started, I had no followers.
It's just crazy how all that stuff changes, and it's I don't know. I don't know. What's your feeling about numbers and followers and stuff? Does that Has that correlated to success, or is it a little more complicated than that?
No, because I mean, I think if I had a lot more, I have 29 on IG right now. But if I had a lot more, maybe